All right, y'all, we are on a roll, so I'm just gonna roll right into the next video. I'm not sure how long I will have waited to post in between the last one and this one, so it's probably not technically the greatest introduction. You know, you're supposed to like have the same thing and keep it the same, and call me resistant, but if it doesn't feel authentic, I don't know. We'll see. One thing I wanted to share, and for those of you who maybe saw another video I posted at one point similar to this, and then it's a little bit of a repeat, but I feel some element as a content creator, so to speak, a little bit of a responsibility to just name and acknowledge the saturation of YouTube in general, of social media in general. Sorry if this sun situation bothers anybody. Didn't think about that. Actually, I did think about that and I ignored it. But now it's shifted just enough. I'm like, oh, it's in my eyes. I feel the need to just want to reiterate for folks to really watch their intake, to in between videos at a certain point, to just stand up, take a stretch, get outside, take a sip of water, turn all the lights or electronics off, even for 5 minutes, and just like give your body a break. I just feel like it's really crucial that we support each other in really healthy habits, because I don't want to not share and post. I get a lot of benefit out of following certain channels and watching certain videos, and it's great. It's really helpful and wonderful. And I've definitely done the just like doom scroll situation, or just that brain wants those hits, and it's so easy to just get lost in it all and then start relying. I know this is a big thing with like tarot stuff, right? Or even like anything, especially anything spiritual or personal development wise, which is to get so hooked on the external, like what the other person is saying, and leaning on that for like, guidance and support, which as a support pillar, great, right? But I think, I know that I've had times in my experience where I've leaned on those things probably a bit too much, or sometimes maybe at the cost of like my own embodiment or my own, I don't know if I should go as far to say intuition. Should get rid of that, but I just think it's something to be so mindful of. And so my hope and why don't I just go ahead and I thought about doing that, when I first noticed it, but then I was like, I kind of like the sun in my eye a little bit, but now I'm annoyed. I just want to name all these things. I just think it's really, really important. Again, that we're supporting each other in healthy habits along the way, and which is great. It's great that we can talk about it, and then you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But we can be mindful. We can consume mindfully and consciously and intentionally, which I think is the biggest element, the biggest component. That being said, there's a little butterfly. That being said, I do want to speak for just a moment on the tarot bit. Part of me wants to make this a separate video. We'll see. I'll say it here. We'll see. Maybe I'll lean into it more, but just because we're kind of on topic, And again, it doesn't just have to be tarot. It could be any other type of spiritual thing. But I think, sometimes it's like all or not, it's like all or nothing, one side or another. So, it's like consuming so much of that stuff or relying on it. And to the other side of like demonizing it. Right. And so that, like, these two things, and I guess in my experiencing where I kind of land with all of that stuff at this point is that for me, it's so dependent upon who the reader is and what's how they talk about what they talk about. So I know that we can get really sucked into predictive stuff, especially when we want certain outcomes and certain results, and we just want that hope. I listened to a video the other night about somebody talking about that exact thing, and it just becomes such a loop. And so, that I feel like it's so easy to get sucked into, but I probably throw a lot of caution to the wind on that. I mean, teach their own, do what you do. But I'm just, again, I just feel it's responsible to speak these things into the space. But I don't think it's all bad at all, in fact. And who knows, like, maybe I'll whip it out at some, I will not. It's occurred to me, there are elements of that are really interesting to me. And I think I want to explore different ways of using that can be helpful. For example, there is, I think there's a couple people that I follow actually that use it. Is it One Path? No, I can't think of her name. True Path Tarot? Renee? She's, I really enjoy that. At least in the videos I've seen, it's just not predictive stuff. It's more of just like, here's what I'm getting for right now with like what's going on in your journey, or what you might be working through. And I really like that kind of stuff. Or folks that I followed, what does she have? Is it Rising Star and like True Love Tarot? I think her name's Lauren. And then there's somebody else that recently I was just following, but where it's like, really being utilized to channel some just like higher wisdom, right? And real like kind of growth oriented guidance. I think that can be incredibly powerful. It can be incredibly helpful. So I think it's just, again, it's like mindful consumption, right? And just like being so honest with ourselves about why we're watching, what we're hoping to get from it, and what part of us is it feeding, and so again, I don't think it's a one size fit all, and I don't think it's this is going to always be awesome and this is always bad and unhealthy. That not at all. I think, again, it's just so relative to the reader, to the person, where you're at, what you're looking for, how you're utilizing it, like anything else. So I just wanted to speak that also into the space. I know that's not a new conversation, but one that I think about a lot, and just thinking about what aspects are most meaningful for me, because I don't think anyone should feel shame around how they feel supported on their journey. And the fact that also, like, things come and go, right? Like, sometimes we're into a thing and we leave it and we come back to it. Sometimes it's just in our lives for a particular moment, but I don't know. I feel like I also have had experiences where, certain tools and certain pieces of wisdom, don't land at one time when they land at another time. And I don't know. I always feel like it's really just, where's the user? Where's the user at within this to see whether or not this particular tool actually resonates? And I know that I've definitely been, judgmental at times over a variety of different things, and, from more expansive to less expansive, and judging both sides of that, depending on where I am at times. And at this point, I'm just like, F it, like I've learned enough now to just not be judging any of it, to just know what's true for me, and to not, furthermore, not even just judging any of it, but to not judge the people that are utilizing whatever they are, whatever path, whatever tradition, faith, spirituality, religion, like, or not, right? Like, whatever the thing is, you know, like, they are not, I've learned that they are definitely just not indicators in any way, shape, or form of like where someone is on the path or how evolved they are. And I say this, right? And there's going to be people watching that are like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And there's other people that are like, yeah, bro, duh. I learned that like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think I really, the difference of me like knowing it, but still having the actual judgment versus like the actual embodied and integrated sense of like true non-judgment and understanding, especially as I come back around to certain things that I'm like, really? Oh, that's interesting. And then they land so differently than they did, you know, at another time. You know, it's like, oh, I thought I was done with X. Oh, no, I'm not. And in fact, not only am I not done with it, this is actually taking me even deeper in this moment. Which actually, you know, that makes me think of affirmations, which, what are we at? 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Do I want to, I've been intending for that to be its own separate video. I think I'm going to make that its own separate video, and see where it goes for sure. Yeah, definitely. All right, maybe I'll do that right now. I love this. I love that before I was trying to have this all be like, so like either like super zen or like really charismatic, or, which I learned has another meaning than what I thought it did. I didn't, personally, I thought charismatic was like really like, you know, it's like blah, you know, and kind of like that flamboyant type of like energy, or like high energy and fast speaking and blah, blah, you know, that whole thing. I learned within the past hour that charismatic is also like, can be really slow in how you speak, and just like slow and intentional movements. And who knew? You know, maybe you knew. I didn't realize that. I was like, this is so not the image in my head of what I had of charismatic. Anyway, I just love that I had all these different like intentions around in my head of how I was going to try to do these videos. And at the end of the day, now it is probably the most conversational style video, or videos that I've maybe ever done. I think the exception is to one channel that I had that shared a lot about just like my inner journey. So it was a little bit more storytelling, you know, very authentic, very storytelling though, as opposed to like, I don't know. I just feel it's like if you're just like sitting across from me, like we're just chatting, only I'm chatting with myself. It's just a frequent occurrence. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and make this affirmation video. I think let's just keep cranking them out while we're here. Why not? All right. Oh, there's people.